Hey, how we doing, everybody? It is the original Fear the Kitten. This is my first actual YouTube video, so this is a huge milestone. This is the my first attempt at starting to generate some actual YouTube content. Extremely excited. I kind of figured I might as well wait till season 3 launches. A lot of new stuff, a lot of new things to talk about. Um, Huge stuff is going to happen with probably patches down the road, but I mean they already went right out the gate with a major rebalance patch that is probably going to help bring the game back to how it felt like during season 5, which is absolutely incredible. So of course, if you found this video through YouTube, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Stay tuned for more content. And you can follow me on Twitch, twitch.com/xfearthekitten. I'm also on Twitter now, which is completely new to me. All the social media stuff is completely new to me. All the streaming stuff is completely new to me. I think I'm on day 24 of streaming. So lots of huge milestones for me. It has been excellent, awesome, and I really couldn't have done it with everybody else. Since this is my first YouTube video, as well as my first stream other than just a game, I have to give a major shout out to JGod, because that dude has basically inspired me to actually do this. XC Tactical, because I couldn't have done this without them, especially our founder Hyperion. Solid dude. But without further ado, we're going to talk about the post-launch Season 3 weapon tier. I spent a crap load of time last night, not on stream, just testing stuff, testing. Things I couldn't discover, I went and sourced out elsewhere. But let's go ahead and get into this, meta review. So, first things first. I don't know exactly if there's a specific way to classify all of the weapons. To me, the meta weapons and off-meta are very, very similar. The difference is, off-meta weapons, I think they're just missing just a little bit to truly make them absolutely powerful. And then weapons that are viable, to me, you can still use them. I can't represent kill races. I represent people that have a 1.0 KDR. If you're watching my videos and you're struggling to get to a 1.0 KDR, stick around, because this information is for players under 1.0 trying to get up there, who want to learn new stuff, and, play the game how majority of the people in the world play it. Maybe we don't have the time to really commit to it, or we're not young enough with the super awesome Twitch skills. So I try to put as much real information in there as possible. And with that being said, I guess we'll just start down this list right here. 1911, probably not worth using. 357, absolutely not worth using. 50 cal GS, I find it too unwieldy. I would rather use my fists at this point. Type 63. Strong damage. Recoil still tough. I don't think it's even viable anymore. At this point, if you want a semi-auto that's strong, go back to the FN-FAL. There's plenty of opportunities to use the FN-FAL now, so I'll put it more into a niche role, maybe a little change it up, but it's really no good. Bottle 680 shotgun, though most of the shotguns have no actual bad traits. There's other shotguns that are far better than the Model 680. Ground floor loot, if you had to pick it up to get another weapon, probably not so bad. 725, same boat as Model 680. It's a pretty powerful shotgun, but it's just not going to do it. Kar 98, with the introduction of the K31, nothing's changed. Kar 98 still going to dominate, especially in that fast-paced, kind of quick scope, sniper, It's just, the Kar 98's unstoppable. AK-47, Modern Warfare, wouldn't recommend. Recoil still too rough, with the headshot multiplier being gone a couple seasons ago. The weapon just does not have the TDK to stay competitive. AK-47, Cold War, absolutely meta. This weapon, you can kind of do two things with it. You can strictly focus on close quarter combat, short game, and you'll have huge success. At that point, you're comparing it with the other SMGs. Despite the slower rate of fire, it just hits hard. But this is, for an all-around gun, this is a solid choice. A little bit more emphasis in the shorter game. I think when you get to about that 25 meter and higher, it's kind of going to fall off pretty significantly. but solid gun. The only downside with the AK-47 is that you don't really get a lot of bonuses for headshots, so your damage isn't, or your time to kill is not going to significantly improve with more aim. But you can get good mobility out of the weapon. The iron sights is a little funky. I think you need an optic for it, but if you're going to use it in close quarters, you probably don't need an optic. But solid choice. That's going to be a dominating weapon. AK-47U, wouldn't recommend it. Doesn't hit hard enough. AMAX, absolutely, will be meta. Has always been. Kind of disappeared for a little bit. Still a great gun. I don't particularly think it's a great long-range weapon. Oh no. You could build it into close quarter or short range, and it is a force to be reckoned with. But again, as that middle-of-the-road all-purpose weapon, can't beat the AMAX. AN-94, unfortunate the hyperburst just isn't implemented well. I wish the weapon could be viable. The weapon probably just belongs in multiplayer, but if you want to work it, it could be kind of fun. So maybe kind of a niche role, but it's not. You're not gonna do yourself any favors using the AN-94. Modern Warfare AUG, no point using it. Even for long range, LC-10 absolutely dominates that category. Cold War AUG, I wasn't a big fan of it anyways when the first set of nerfs happened. Don't think it's really viable at all. I mean, there's just better alternatives, especially for mid to long range combat. I don't think you need to pack the AUG anymore. Axe 50 is, I would just say, off meta. HDR is definitely superior when it comes to that long range firepower, but I think the Axe 50's bullet velocity is just not there. But again, it's still a good sniper rifle. It's not going to let you down. Bruen MK9, nothing's changed with that. I still say it's viable. There's some better action going on, but Bruen MK9, definitely still use it. Bullfrog, that is going to join the ranks of meta for sure. Headshot bonus on it makes this weapon probably one of the faster time to kills outside of the AS Val. And I mean, this weapon itself has a lot of good things going for it. You can still maintain that mobility, plus that large 85 round mag. Clean iron sights, easy to get headshots, and you have a decent range with, I think you extend the range out up to 17 meters, which is pretty impressive for a submachine gun. Next up, Diamatti. Still viable, good sidearm if you had nothing else, or if it's the only weapon on the ground, absolutely pick it up. DMR, again, I would not recommend. Basically, FNFL, once again, replaces that weapon. Dragunov, I want to say niche sometimes, but it's just not good. It just really is not good. EBR-14, probably niche role, but even if you're going to try to use a weapon kind of not as a sniper rifle, try to keep it like within that 100-meter range, there's just too many better options out there that are significantly better than the EBR-14. So I think that's just a hard pass. FNFL, that gun will never go out of style. It's still absolutely meta. Long range, definitely long range. Because of the time to kill kind of shifted, you actually could almost make a case for more of an all-purpose speed-based FNFL to come back into the playing field. So, if you're curious, the FNFL, absolutely king of long range, but worth experimenting. Speed up the ADS. Don't worry about the marksman barrel in the monolithic suppressor, which is kind of taboo, but you have yourself a good weapon. It's definitely useful now. FAMAS 5.56, just no good. Burst spread is too bad. FARA 83. The FARA, I think nobody really noticed how good this weapon was. I think the actual patch on the recoil happened not on this rebalance patch, actually previously, because I picked it up, I started using it, I noticed that weird recoil pattern kind of disappeared. This is a solid all-purpose weapon. The damage on it, I mean, it's pretty good. I think it's coming right around that 600 DPS without headshots. Once you start putting headshots in it, it is definitely very, very, very good. It eventually surpasses the AK. But it's still on the slower side, so there's more emphasis in the mid-range to long range, where the AK is the short range to mid-range. So, two different weapons, two different roles, but FARA is definitely, when it comes to ease of use, that should be a popular pick. The Fennec, I wouldn't say it's meta, but the Fennec, to me, there's more room in this meta now for this weapon to make kind of a reappearance. High damage, good maybe sniper support. I mean, versus the other submachine guns, the LC-10 is still probably superior, but I think the Fennec definitely has a case where it is more than just viable now. So go back and check that out versus the other weapons TTKs, and you'll be surprised. FFAR, probably keep it off meta. You know, with the last nerf, it kind of puts the weapon closer to the submachine gun group. So still kind of a niche role. It's still got very good TTK. So I still think, again, sniper support role or kind of for a mobility build as maybe not your primary weapon. You can still find some good use in it. I mean, someone's got to be able to beat submachine guns without getting too close to them, so there's a choice right there. Finn light machine gun. I don't think there's anything special with it. Grau 5.56. The Krig 6 may be better, especially by the damage table. Not too sure exactly on the ease of use with it, but it looks like the Krig 6 is going to be a definite contender for long range. I'm going to put this weapon back up in meta, though, because it is just a very easy automatic long-range weapon to have in your arsenal. If you're struggling with snipers, or semi-auto, maybe the FN FAL is a little too much, or the fact that if you get caught in close quarters, you're gonna die with the FN FAL. Check out the Grau. Good gun. It used to be the king. A little bit of a nerf kind of took it down, but it's still a solid choice. Next up, the Groza. I don't exactly understand the kind of nerf they did to the Groza. I think it kind of... I see what they're trying to accomplish with it, but I think they actually hurt the gun even more than it was. I was actually hoping they were going to buff this weapon up, because besides the screwed up iron sights at one point, I thought it was actually a relatively decent gun. You could probably still work it, so we'll leave it inviolable. But again, maybe this is one to keep an eye out on a possible small buff. I don't think it needs much to be competitive, so hopefully they'll do something with the Groza. How 77, great shotgun. Absolutely, if you have no weapon, definitely pick it up. There's better shotguns out there. It's a pump shotgun, but this one is probably one of the better pump shotguns, so I will leave it in there for a weapon to use. HDR, King of Snipers, definitely that'll be meta. Holger 26, nah, it's not happening. ISO, maybe one day can make a comeback. Jack 12, that's going to be probably in there in the top 3 shotguns. That is a sweet shotgun between Jack 12, I guess the Gallo, and the Street Sweeper. 3 awesome options. The shotguns just won't go into meta because there's really not there's not really a place for them in Verdansk. Rebirth, yes. But I don't want to just put them in the niche role because they are truly extremely good weapons, just not particularly for Verdansk, but we'll make them distinguish, above the rest. But either way, Jack 12 is awesome. The K31 has no place, maybe in multiplayer. The bullet velocity sucks. I guess because it's mag-fed, the reload time is a little bit better. It's just, between the Tundra, the Kar98, and the Pellington, there's just no place for it. So, unless they make a huge change, it's just kind of a fluff gun. Kali sticks. Melee was very, very good before the Cold War merger. The extreme TTK kind of made melee more of a challenge. So, with that being said, I guess there's still some use for it, but the Kali sticks are probably the best of the melee weapons, so we'll get to put that in off meta. Kilo 141, again, all-purpose weapon is slowly being replaced. I'm going to put this down in niche, though, because it looks like there is a long-range build that you can use with the Kilo that may be effective. Maybe if you're working on unlocking stuff with the Grau or the Krig 6, here's an alternative to get you by. But again, if you're using the Kilo as your just general purpose weapon, I think it's time to stop. I mean, the Farah is a great replacement for the Kilo. The Cold War AK-47. There's just so many better weapons out there. And the Kilo with the 100-round magazine, I mean, you're making a light machine gun. It's an assault rifle. So it'll never be as good as a light machine gun. So time to let it go. Knives, they just don't matter. Combat knife, don't matter. Dual Kodachis. Kali sticks are superior. I used to rock these. These are fun. But again, Kali sticks are just better in practically every single way. Krieg 6, I had that originally in off meta. We'll move that up to meta because I believe with the balance and the damage table change, this weapon is, like I said, might possibly be better than the Grau for long range. So that's up there, especially if the AMAX does get nerfed. Once the AMAX comes out of the equation, long range weapons, you're looking at FNFAL, Grau, and Krieg 6 all competing for the top spot. KSP 45, it's a shame, it sucks. LC 10, I want to put it in meta, but it's not. Even with the bullet velocity increase, it still sits outside. A great weapon, you know, especially if you want to just get off of an assault rifle. This is a fantastic submachine gun. This isn't a submachine gun you're going to go kicking doors down and killing people at 5 meters. You get great range with it. The bullet velocity, though, doesn't change your actual range. Those bullets are going to land quicker, which is great. But the weapon is actually the same damage table as the FARA 83. The difference is at about that 20 meter range, the LC-10 starts dropping off and the FARA kind of continues on. And then with some headshots, it starts bringing the time to kill down. But the FARA still kind of... The FARA ultimately does more damage. So if you can aim well with a FARA, you can aim well with an LC-10. The FARA kind of is better. But, you know, like I said, the LC-10, because it's a machine gun, ammo, you know, maybe ammo problems, things like that, you can kind of spread it out. Everybody in your squad's running an assault rifle, less competition. But LC-10, I've been preaching this gun for months. I thought it was great then. It's even better now. So definitely check it out. M13, I just don't think it really fits in anymore. M16, they didn't mess up the burst spread, which is a good thing. But again, there's a case to say with the fire rate, little adjustment. I think it's still usable. I don't think you're going to be hitting people really beyond 60 meters now. But, you know, for a mid to long range alternative, say you're running around with a, I don't know, the Bullfrog, you just need something with a little bit more range on it. The M16 may not be so bad. And again, if you get caught in close quarters with the weapon out, you still have a high probability of surviving. So I think M16 is still viable. M19, pistol-wise, great pistol, Akimbo, can't beat it. I'm not a big fan of Akimbo pistols, but, you know, if you like it, that's not a bad option. M4A1, the weapon, the other weapons just have better range and just more consistent damage further out. That the M4A1 to me is just kind of effectively being replaced. I'm actually going to leave it inviable. The only time to me that the M4A1 makes sense is with the 9mm conversion, and built strictly for close quarter combat. It's a fantastic weapon. You get the rate of fire up to 1,000. You know, you're gonna have a small magazine. You're gonna have to use sleight of hand. You knock off the buttstock. Tac laser. It's very speedy. It's got one of the fastest ADS times. But the damage profile is significant, especially among the submachine guns. So M4A1 as an all-purpose weapon, no more. Focus strictly on close quarters. I think it's still viable. And then it's still a lot of competition there. M60, I don't think it's too bad, but better light machine guns out there. M82, we'll leave that over inviable. I don't think it's still too bad. Just better sniper rifles out there. M91, want to recommend it. MAC-10, I think MAC-10 still will never go out of style. I don't think it's really off meta. I still think the Bullfrog and LC-10 between those two ranges is still superior to the MAC-10. I'm going to put the MAC-10 down as viable. I just don't think it's the same anymore. Maybe it's off meta. We'll leave it in off meta for now. Machete, nah. Magnum, absolutely not. I'd rather use my fists. MG34, surprisingly, is not that bad, but like I said, if you're trying to get above a 1.0 KDR, let it go. Milano, surprisingly, it feels like it could be a good weapon, just has too many problems. MK2 carbine, it's not even fun to mess around with. MP5, absolutely meta. MP5, both Cold War and Modern Warfare, very similar. Couple little differences between the two. When it comes to the absolute CQC, those two weapons are hard to beat, and I believe they'll reign king in the absolute close quarters. But like what I talked about with the M4A1 9mm conversion, you go look at the damage table. You're gonna get about the same amount of kills out of that magazine, with the M4 being, you know, 1 kill less, so you have to reload. but the M4A1 9mm is respectably close in damage on those MP5s. So possibly in a solo setting, you know, the M4A1 could still be pretty good. Let's see, MP7. I think the MP7 is still alright. Too many better options out there. Maybe just leave it in the viable role. Odin. I think Odin's getting some room to come back in here. I don't think it's technically off meta. If you revisit it, we're trying to increase its ADS speed mobility and use it for the mid-range combat, of course competing against the far-run AK-47. You could make a case that the Odin could kind of pick up that medium to longer range, especially if you're not planning on packing a long-range weapon. I think the Odin should be revisited, because again, the weapon is a great weapon, it's just the extreme fast TTKs kind of threw all these weapons in the, you know, in the shitter for the most part. But like I said, the Odin, I still think the Odin's pretty good. I want to do the whole necessarily extreme long range route. The FNFL is still better, but again, Odin and semi-auto, medium long range, not a bad alternative. Origin 12 shotgun, better shotguns out there. P90, no place here. Pellington, I guess we'll just slap the Pellington up there and off meta. Kar 98 I still think is superior, but Pellington is not too bad. PKM, we're going to move the PKM up to viable. You can build a decent all-around build by not extending the magazines. So maybe a little bit of an alternative. I don't think it's that good to even compete with off-meta weapons, but again, if you want to use a light machine gun, PKM is actually not all that bad. PP-19 Bison, Bullfrog is just better. The PPSH, the weapon's great, just like the K31. Yes, the Rebirth, oh my god, we were killing everybody. All I saw was people with one plate dying. When people have one plate, a K31, any sniper rifle is amazing. And I think the PPSH appears to be amazing, but it's just not enough damage. Plain and simple. So, pass on that one. QBZ, I don't understand. I actually want the QBZ to be a better weapon. I want a super speedy, lightning fast assault rifle, and I get it that they can't have great damage or we'll have the FFAR all over again. But I hope that they could fix the QBZ where it can kind of be like a gap closer. It's a weapon that you just move fast, you're putting a lot of bullets down range. May not be the most damaging bullets, but the TTK is just bad. It's just really, really bad. But maybe put QBZ on your radar. Maybe they can figure it out. R90, Dragon Breath round, still a powerful thing. Nitral, but you know, I mean, I'll still put it as viable because it's still not a bad for crowd control. Ram 7, I think Ram 7 can still be viable. Again, sniper support role. FFAR kinda is still better. But, you know, I said if you really like the Ram 7, I think you can still use the weapon. Renetti is dual Renetti burst. Still pretty badass. I'll say it would probably be the only pistol in the off-meta category. Look at the damage tables. The dual Renetti in burst mode is fantastic weapon. Fantastic. VLK Rogue. Again, I think there's better shotguns out there. I mean, it might be viable. I don't know. I still think there's just better shotguns out there, so we'll just put that in. Would not recommend. RPD, Stoner 63 is the only Cold War light machine gun that's worth a damn, so there's really no point using the rest of them. Rytech, I believe, is completely viable. SA-87. SA-87, we're bringing this sucker up to off-meta. I just built a long-range build on it, was using it. It is quite respectably a decent long-range alternative. You get a 60-round mag, surprisingly mobile. Pretty good accuracy. It's an easy weapon to use. Something I think everybody should also check out is look at the S87 in the long range only category. I think you'll be quite impressed that the weapon could almost compete with the Krig 6 and Grau. FN Scar, I wish it was better. Just not. Riot Shield, you know, trolly as it gets. SKS, I wish that would have been better, but it's not. Sledgehammer, don't really care about that. Gallo 12. We'll go ahead and put it up here with the Jack 12. Fantastic for Rebirth. Again, shotguns just don't have that big of a place in Verdansk, but Rebirth, abso-freaking-lutely. Good mobility, 12-round tube, and pretty decent range. I think the Jack 12 is still slightly better than the Gallo. But the Gallo, easy to use shotgun. Especially with the the agency choke, you know, he's got an ADS on it, but you can get some range on it. SPR 208. I think we'll put that up here in, I think it really can go meta. Very good sniper rifle. Another alternative to the Kar 98. Highly mobile. Stoner 63, viable. I just don't think that the Cold War light machine guns have that much going for them, unfortunately. Striker 45 is just not good. Street Sweeper, again, another awesome shotgun. That's going right into off meta. Psychov, they're still good. And actually, because some weapons are slightly weaker now in the close range category, the Psychov can still do some pretty decent damage. I think more so in Rebirth than anything else. I'm going to leave it in off meta though, because dual Psychov is still pretty powerful. But maybe kind of like the shotguns, more for Rebirth. Moving on, Tundra, one of my favorites. Kar 98 still superior to the Tundra, but the Tundra has its own merits. Mag-Fed, faster reload, build it for mobility. 4K, no glint. And I mean, I love it. Again, I kind of use it as my sniper hunter. I don't think it's necessarily meta, but it's definitely sitting off meta. Uzi's surprisingly not that bad, but too much better competition out there. AS Val, I'm absolutely putting this up in meta. I don't think you should be afraid of the mag size. Unless you're a kill race player, gotta understand, this weapon is going to give you the fastest time to kill, all the way up to about 30 meters. You have two ways you can build it. You can just max out ADS, don't even go with the barrel option. Send a mag, sleight of hand. This is a very powerful weapon. But people are scared of the mag size. You're going to get 5 kills out of the mag if you do it right. You're more likely to overshoot your target. But again, if you're hovering around that 1.0 and you want to find a way to get up and past it, check this out as your short to mid-range replacement weapon, and you'll thank me for it. It is powerful. Sword, don't need it. X16, don't really need it. Crossbow, that's going to be troll all day long. XM4, I think is okay. Again, another weapon that I feel like a couple little buffs could help it out. Even if they went with just increased damage, the distance a little bit better with maybe, I guess, that shitty, weird neck multiplier. Just something to kind of give it a little bit of oomph. It's an easy to use weapon. I feel like it should be kind of like a Kilo is to Cold War weapons, just an all-purpose gun. 0G 20mm is, I guess, not a bad sniper rifle. You know, I think HDR becomes for the absolute cross-map killing. You can't beat the HDR, but that's a alternative right there. So that's all the weapons right now. That's all of them. I'll have a link to this in the description. And then I'll be working on doing some loadout builds. So there'll be plenty of loadout builds for the AK, the FARA, all of those ones. I was going to actually work on some of the outliers and revisiting a few of them, from how we used to use the weapons to how we should use them now and how they may fit into the meta. So be on the lookout for that. So make sure you hit the subscribe button so you can stay in tuned. And then, like I said, check me out at Twitch, XFearTheKitten, for more. But we'll shut this down and let's get switched over to some Modern Warfare action. And it was appreciated, everybody. Ooh.